So happy New Year, everybody. I hope everybody enjoyed their winter break and their holidays with your families and your kids as well. If I could just ask anybody who is not speaking at the moment, if you wouldn't mind muting your phone, because we're getting a little bit of feedback here. And co-hosts, if you wouldn't mind as well helping to mute those. Thank you very much. Okay. So let me go ahead and get started. So again, welcome and Happy New Year, and welcome to our January PAC meeting. I am Maria Tianco Ramos, for those of you who I have not had a chance to meet or who don't know who I am. I am this year's president, and the update that I have is that we have made some great strides in planning for some events this coming year, and our great committee chairs will be sharing some of those wonderful events that we have going on. I was able to participate in the session selection committee, and so it's been wonderful to see the different programs that IMSA was able to offer this year for the intersession, and hopefully your kids are enjoying that time as well. Also, our executive board was able to approve some proposed expenditures for this coming semester, notably some from the Friday Fest committee, which they will get into more detail. And we also did help to fund the coffee and scoops for the Endiro Coffee fundraiser that Student Council is holding right now, and there will be more information regarding that as well later on in this meeting. So next is our Vice President, Kathy Williams, and she is unable to join us for the call today, but she has been meeting with the Senior Banquet Committee as well as with the regional representatives, and so there'll be more updates later on in the meeting regarding those as well. Next, we've got Alex Williams. Alex, are you on the call?
Yes. Yes, give me 1 second here.
Okay.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. So what we're showing here is the copy of the current balances for the 3 accounts. There has not been much activity, just a few small reimbursements for some wing parent expenses. So the current balances are displayed, and then we are anticipating. Believe I just received in the mail the installment, our second installment from the school for our deposit. So once I confirm that amount, that will be deposited into the main account. So all of the details are here. And then just a reminder, I do have on my to-do list to move reserve balances into a savings account. We have to work through some details before we can set up a new savings account. So once that's done, those reserve balances will be reflected into a newly established account. Are there any questions about the budget? Okay, that's all I have, Maria.
Okay, thank you, Alex. And if you do have any questions about the budget, please feel free to email the imsapac@gmail.com. Thanks so much, Alex. Okay, next we have Kyle Blade, our secretary.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great start to the new year. Not a whole lot from me. If we go to the next slide, the only thing I want to mention is that even though it doesn't feel like much has gone on, we have elections. Our election cycle for the next school year will be ramping up soon. So this is just a little reminder to start thinking about that, starting next month, we will be starting to solicit self-nominations for the executive board positions of president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. More information will be coming, but just want to put that in people's ear. So that's all.
Thank you, Kyle. And also, as you're thinking about the executive board positions, we will also have information coming out as well about the different committees. So different ways you can get involved for next school year. So thanks again. Okay, Aldwin.
Yes,
our at-large member.
I am the at-large member. I'm also the liaison for the Transportation Committee. We met and we're just making sure that we have a nice transition from this year to next year. That's it.
Thank you. Next we have Katerina Kazuzas, our sophomore representative.
Good morning, everybody. I actually have been kind of a mess with a lot of stuff that's been going on personally, so I have to apologize, but I've been working with a few of the departments within the IMSA administration and have worked out some sort of a plan to have a monthly meeting to figure out how to really connect some of the parents, even if it's not really to meet, but to figure out how their child can feel a little bit more connected to IMSA, because we're so we don't have a sense of what normal was for most of these kids, and trying to get to a point where the parents are feeling a little bit more like their child is either getting the best that they possibly can given the world that we're in right now. That's all I have. And Maria and I are going to be working offline to have a meeting hopefully within the next couple of weeks.
Thank you, Kat. So yes, so parents of sophomores, be on the lookout for emails with more information about this upcoming meeting.
And the only other thing I was going to say is that I really would like to do a survey to the sophomore parents specifically that really addresses what they're sort of feeling now that they've had 6 months in, and really what their kinds of issues that they'd like to see resolved, or what they're feeling is going well for what situation we're in right now.
Okay, great. So you'll probably be sending out an email with that survey as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kat. Next, we'll have a report from our different committees. So first is our academic committee. The chairs are Moju, Gabrielle, and Kathleen.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Moju. Gabriella and Kathleen are also on the call, but I'll walk us through the couple of slides that we have. So the first topic that we had the news from the principal's office, and very excited about the in-person graduation ceremony for this year, that the plans are on their way. The venue has been secured. The date has been set for June 5th. And but keep in mind that is supposed to be in-person ceremony at this point, but it's all tentative based on the state of pandemic when we get to that point. But if at any case, there will be a ceremony on that day, in person or virtual, just the date is secured. At this point, everybody hopes to have it in person, and we'll see when it gets to that point. Another reminder that they wanted the senior parents to have was ordering their gown, cap and gown for the ceremony. And if you haven't done it by now, please get in touch with their office and make sure that they want to make sure that your orders get processed in time for the graduation. Another topic that with the Academic Support Services Office, they wanted to inform everybody was that for this coming semester, the tutor training is coming up this Wednesday. And right after that, they will send out the schedule for the peer tutoring. And the process would be the same as the last semester. There are two options. There would be one-on-one based on the appointments or the set up an appointment that the students make with the tutors based on the tutors' availability that will be coming out with the schedule. The other one would be that open house tutoring. So they have a period where they have a RC on the call with a bunch of tutors available. So students could come in and say, I have this issue, and is there anybody that could help me out? And then they pair up, the tutors will volunteer, and then they pair up and put them in a separate chat for them to continue. One of the things that I thought would be a great idea, the students, and you can maybe encourage your students for this, student could use actually this open house tutoring as for a study group. I mean, they could have a bunch of them showing up at the same time, use this Zoom sublink and go into a group together. And if the group of them can't come up with an answer, or they have a question about some topic, then they could ping the RC and say, hey, we're having issues. Can you send somebody to help us out? So there's many ways that they could use this wonderful option that is available to them. And it would be nice to encourage them to do that. Another thing that they're going to also sponsor would be for some of the students that might be struggling with some of the topics. And this is for all grades, not just the sophomores, would be some assigned study hours that would be mandatory and assigned, but that's by invitation, and that's something they're also working on. So this kind of brings me to the next topic of strategies team. And this is a team that meets every Thursday, and they have members from like the faculty, they have the nurse, they have a couple of the school counselors, they have science teacher, math teacher, English teacher. So they kind of get together every week, and they especially work on or look at a report of the students who are struggling with some topics, and they try to come up with strategies of how they could help the student. And it's really nice to know that kind of support exists for them. And then based on their conversation, they might even assign and the situation of how, if it is severe, they'll have a case person assigned to that student and then work with them, trying to bring them up to speed of where they would be struggling. So all that support is there. So encourage your students to take advantage of that. The only other topic I have to bring up would be I'm aware of the webinar that is for the junior and junior parents that's coming up soon. It's on January 21st. And this is just in terms of choosing the college that you can afford. The information will be emailed to the juniors and junior parents. And I believe that, as always, if you can attend it, they would post the recorded webinar on the website. Thank you.
Thank you, Moju.
Sure.
And next we have the Student Life Committee, Audrey and Maria.
Oh, bless you, whoever just sneezed. Hi, this is Maria. Audrey is also on the call. And I just wanted to welcome all of you to the new year, and hopefully no one is shoveling too badly today, depending on where you are in the state. We just have a couple of things to cover. So if you'll go to the next slide. For the first time since our wing parent program has happened, we have all of our wings covered. So we have assigned at least one parent to each wing, to each RC in each wing. And they are starting to do some exciting planning. I know it's been a little tabled for the fall, but I think this beginning now and going forward, we'll have some good connections with our RCs, and many things will be happening, hopefully, or at least a lot of supporting. Because again, as you are all volunteers, we're also thrilled to have you. And we have nearly 50 wing parents who are really working on getting connected with your students as best as they can. I also wanted to point out really quick on this slide that there's a QR code for our IMSA lexicons. We have some students who graciously have decided they can help us if we don't have our lexicons right, our lingo and our acronyms that are so unique to IMSA. So they're working on those, and that changes all the time. So there's the link, and also a QR code if you're just going to take a picture if you're on a laptop and can do that. So that is about our IMSA coolest parents. And if you quickly go to the next slide, I just want to begin transitioning into Friday Fest, because Student Life and Friday Fest are collaborating together to bring you IMSA's first PAC cookbook. So you've hopefully seen these on the Facebook page. Again, there's another QR code for you to submit your recipes if you have one on hand ready to go. We are very, very excited about collecting cookbook recipes from staff and alumni and families that are currently at IMSA. And we hope that you'll take us up on this so we can have a lovely memory of the things that we bring to the table. See what I did there? Including your recipes. So if you take a look at that QR code, we'd like to have everything in by January 25th. We are pleased to announce that the IMSA Student Productions graphics team is working on a logo design for us, or a design for the cookbook, and it's just going to be a lovely collaboration. So at this time, I'm going to hand it over to Robin, who has a couple other things to say about the cookbook, and we'll go from there. Thanks, everyone.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So I'll finish up on talking about the cookbook specifically. This has been a really fun collaboration for Friday Fest and Student Life Wing program to work on together. And I do want to make a call out to parents who have also put in contributions for cultural events at IMSA, whether that's Diwali or Harambe or Casa de Alma or Lunar New Year. We know that you bring in some really awesome cultural dishes. So just this past week, after I thought about this, I created a category that you can actually select from on that Google form, so that we know it's properly tagged, that this is something that would make a great dish for a cultural event. And so we want to invite anyone, all parents, to contribute. And we can move on to Friday Fest.
Hi, Missy Graff here, along with Robin, who you just heard from, and Gabriella as co-chairs. But we are super excited that we did a little recruiting since our last meeting, and we welcomed 3 sophomore parents to the Friday Fest committee. That is very helpful because we will be needing to pass the torch. I know Robin's the mother of a senior. The 3 parents that we have that added were Melissa Slynn, who lives in Villa Park, and Dominic and Heather Cianciola, I hope I pronounced that right, who live in Oak Park. So we welcome them, and they'll just be helping us, navigate what we can do remotely. And then obviously when we get back on campus, Friday Fest, the traditional version. As mentioned, we do have a couple of projects underway. You just heard about the cookbook and the partnership with the Student Life Committee. And then we're also going to be doing a student gift pack, thanks to the executive board for approving some funding for that. And that will be coming out, probably be received early February, kind of like a "we love you and have a great second semester" kind of theme. So every student will receive a little something in the mail from us as kind of a pack, but with Friday Fest funds, because we can't have Friday Fest right now. Robin, you want to do the last thing?
Sure. So currently under development is we have a virtual event for students that we're looking at. Now, this is very much still in the early phases of exploring the concept, but what we're hoping to do is some sort of a game night event with food prizes, something that might be shipped directly to winners' households. So you might think like Garrett's, a tin of Garrett's popcorn, or maybe frozen pizza or frozen pie, or something that's shelf stable. I'll be in communication with Brittany Walker, the Director of Student Activities, to determine how best to roll this out, either as a standalone event or in conjunction with something that might be student-led in the month of March. As of the submission deadline for these slides, we had not set our next Friday Fest committee meeting, but I do want to announce it here, and I will post it in the chat. We will be meeting on Monday, February 1st at 7 p.m. Particularly, we're going to be doing 3 things. Number 1, we'll look at the progress of the cookbook. Number 2, we're going to be closing out and debriefing on the gift pack project. And number 3, we're going to really start working and wrestling through that virtual student event for March. So if that is something that you would like to contribute to, or you're interested in just hanging out with some IMSA parents, I will post this in the chat. And if you would like a calendar invite, I'm going to invite you to email me, and I'd be happy to send you the link to the calendar invite. Thank you.
Before we move on, we did have one question about the cookbook, and a parent was asking about if you want pictures as well as the recipes, if someone wants to address that before we move on too much.
Sure. Go ahead, Maria.
So go ahead, Robin.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, so for pictures, we do not have a spot to upload pictures. We're trying to keep this as light as we can. We are having the ISP, IMSA Student Productions students. They'll be providing sort of themed pictures and have a consistent feel. So no, we're not accepting pictures for individual recipes for the cookbook.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any other questions for Friday Fest or student-wise regarding the cookbook or any other things they just covered? Okay, if you do, feel free to add it to the chat, and then we'll address it at the end of the meeting. But thank you to both committees. Okay, next is Senior Banquet Committee, and Kathy Williams is the liaison for that. And as you can see, there has been a wonderful group of volunteers who are going to be the committee co-chairs. So we've got Gabriella, Kat, Nelsie, Ann, Tasneem, and Sailaja, and I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. So they will be meeting in the next few weeks to start this, to discuss about Senior Banquet and the upcoming events and different options. So they should have some more updates for us in the next upcoming meetings. Okay, next we have hospitality, Svetlana and Danica.
Hi, this is Svetlana Smolgovskaya. Unfortunately, we don't have any news to report since we still are not on campus, and so there's no changes to our slides or no changes to what we do. We are really hoping that the kids are going to go back on campus, and then we can actually do something to please our our parents, to please our students. We provide food for different events, so it just since there's no events right now, there's nothing to report.
Thank you, Svetlana. And the next project that they'll be working on, major one aside from those events, will be teacher appreciation. So
correct.
Thanks again. Okay, next we have Transportation Committee. We have Abhijit and Jill. Okay, I'm not sure if Abhijit and Jill are on the call, but Aldwin, are you still on the call?
We had our meeting, Transportation Committee, and of course we don't have any transportation at this time, but we are prepared for next year. Abhijit is a parent of a graduating senior, and Jill is a parent of a sophomore, so that works out. So we're making sure that the transition would be smooth and Jill is up to speed at the logistics of the transportation committee. Anyway, so we'll give more information for next year or this year if it becomes available, and if for the buses and the routes, if we are students need any transportation from their residences to IMSA and back. That's it. If you have any questions, the email is there. And then again, those sophomores who have not experienced this yet from downstate, you will receive emails about the transportation. If it's becoming available, we will have a survey and to make sure that we have a number, an accurate number of students wishing to avail of this service. That's it.
Thank you, Alvin. And then next we have the Technology Committee, and the co-chairs are Guy, Jose, and Jim.
Hi, this is Guy. Jose could not attend the meeting today, but we don't have any significant news from the Technology Committee at this time. Thank you.
Jim, would you like to give an update?
For the Facebook committee or for the Facebook page, and I believe that they are on the slide.
Yes, the link is on the bottom of the slide. Right. So thank you to the Facebook moderators for that great information. So if you're in the Facebook group, please take a look at the updated guidelines and rules. Regional representatives. So Kathy Williams is meeting with the regional representatives, and they are discussing different ways for how the regional representatives can reach out to the different families in the different regions. So parents, stay tuned. You should be receiving more information on any upcoming meetups, whether they're virtual or otherwise. So far, the regions that have regional representatives are shown here. So thank you to all the regional representatives that have stepped up to volunteer for your region. We do have 3 regions still available. So if you are in region 2, 4, or 7 and are interested in being a regional representative for your region, please send an email to theimsapac@gmail.com, and we will get that forwarded over to Kathy so she can get you information on upcoming meetings and also upcoming resources that they've discussed. So if you ever have any questions about your region, there are maps on IMSA's website as to the different regions. The state of Illinois is broken out into 10 different regions, as you can see on the map here.
That's not her.
And then next, I would like to ask Yulia to give us an update on College of Academic Counseling.
Yes. Yes. Well, welcome everybody, and Happy New Year to all. And I have a couple of things to report, and as soon as they show up on the screen, I will go over them. Yes. So we have one webinar that is coming up that was already mentioned, and it's how to choose a college you can afford. And by the way, that webinar is a required in a way webinar for our junior parents to watch. It's one of 2 webinars we would like for all of our junior parents to watch. One webinar was delivered already in December by me, and the webinar was called College Admission 101. And the second one is how to choose a college you can afford. It will be delivered by Sue Spilde. And we would like all of our junior parents to watch these 2 webinars before they meet with us for the family college conferences. The second webinar I will be delivering, that will be in February, and the webinar will be all about IMSA course selection process. We are starting our course selection process next week, and so I'm going to go into great details about what it entails, how to choose classes for next year, what kind of graduation requirements IMSA expects all of our students complete. So it's a very, very useful webinars. And once again, it was already mentioned before, I would like to mention it again. If you're not able to join our webinars live, all of our webinars are posted right away, I want to say within 24 hours, on the CAC website, on the IMSA CAC website. So please do log in and watch them. CAC newsletter, I'm working on my winter newsletter, and hopefully it will be sent out during the week of January 25th. So the next slide will talk about meetings that we have with all of our juniors and sophomores. I will be sending a very detailed letter about a course selection process to our parents during the week of January 25th, so our parents are aware of that. And we're meeting with all of our juniors during the same week for the course selection meetings. And then on January 28th, which is Thursday in the morning, we're going to hold all sophomore class meeting to start the process. So the meeting lasts usually about 2 hours, and we go over graduation requirements with our students. And also we have guest speakers from each department. So each department will be represented by a faculty member who's going to highlight electives that our sophomores now next year juniors can take and have a chance to take. So the week of January 25th is all devoted to the course selection meetings. In addition to that, all sophomore parents received Naviance logins and information on how to register to use Naviance. So please, sophomore parents, if you haven't done so yet, please do register. And if you missed your email, please reach out to your student's college and academic counselor, and your student's CAC will resend you the login. The junior documents, that includes students' documents and parent document, the parent questionnaire, were all due last Friday, which was yesterday, because starting as early as Tuesday of next week, we will begin meeting with all of our juniors for mandatory family college conferences. So the letter about that, a very detailed letter about that was sent back in December. So all of our junior parents are aware of that. And those family college conferences are going to last between January 19th and April 23rd. So make sure that as soon as you submit, if you're a junior parent right now listening to my presentation, if you submitted your parent questionnaire, which you should because it was due yesterday, please contact your student's CAC, or probably most likely your student's CAC will reach out to you and set up an appointment that works for both of you, a parent and a student. And the student cannot miss a class, by the way, to meet for the family college conference. And then let me see what else we have here. Well, I already mentioned that. So we have the documents. I'm not sure why this Maria, why do we have this slide again? But that's okay. That's okay. So I already mentioned everything on that slide before, so you can just go over it again. So this is finally the final update on our senior class. We will be sending first semester grades to all common application schools, MIT, Georgetown, and military academies during the week of probably the January 25th. I did send a letter to our senior parents about that back in December, so refer to that letter if you have any questions. Here are our very, very early numbers, and I will give you a little bit more detail about that. So we ended up having 38 students who applied early decision, and 14 of them were admitted. And remember, if a student applies as an early decision student, that means student absolutely must attend that college. So we have already 14 students who know for sure they will be going to a particular college. And then also 18 of our students completed, it's called restrictive early action applications, and that's for Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford, although this year we did not have any applicants to Princeton, so it was only Harvard, Yale, and Stanford, and then one student was admitted. So many of you probably are thinking right now, so how do these numbers compare to the last year graduating class? So just before I give you that information, I want to share with you, and you probably read it in the news, the fact that due to the lack of standardized testing that is usually a part of the college application requirement, since colleges abandoned that for the fall for the class of 2021, every single college was overwhelmed with the number of applicants. So when I spoke, let's say, with a dean of admission from MIT back in December, at the beginning of December, he told me that their numbers increased by 60%. So every single college received more applications than ever before. I just read yesterday in a brief news from a dean of admission from Duke University, and they received 10,000 more applications just for early decision round, not for regular round. So every single college is overwhelmed with number of applicants simply because students feel like, well, if you're not going to look at my test scores, why not? Why should I not apply? Now, when it comes to IMSA, so this year, as you see, 38 students applied early decision, 14 were admitted. It's actually better than last year. So last year at this time, we had 44 IMSA students who applied to schools under early decision agreement, and 12 of them were admitted. So our students did better in the early round right now. Last year, we had 22 students who applied to schools under restricted early action plan, and 3 were admitted. So we did a little bit better when it comes to the early decision numbers, and a little bit not so better, a little bit worse when it comes to the early action single choice. Now, what I need to add also about the early action single choice schools, usually, so it's Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Princeton, but like I said before, we did not have any applicants to Princeton this year, but those colleges usually either admit or deny. And what happened this year was also very unusual. Many of the schools, the Harvard, Yale, Stanford, they deferred students, which happens so seldom in a regular year. So many of our students were not admitted, but they were not denied. They were deferred to a regular round, and they will be read again. And the reason for that, I'm thinking, is again, because they're just so overwhelmed with numbers of students, early numbers of students. They're not sure how many will apply now for the regular round, and they want to make sure that they give every single student a fair chance, a fair shot at being admitted. The next admission, the big numbers will be coming on February 5th, and that would be the decision from University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. We have 162 applicants. So on February 5th, we will know those numbers. And then after that, decisions from universities will be coming as soon as they release them. But every single decision from every single university will be communicated to a student before April 1st. So during the February, March, month of February and March usually are the months where our students hear all of their admission decisions. And then clearly at the end of the school year, I will give you a presentation with overall numbers for IMSA students. That's all, Maria, that's all I have.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Yulia?
There's a question in the chat, and the question was, are the webinars open to sophomore parents? And what I assume that question means is, are the junior webinars open to sophomore parents?
Well, so the webinars are posted so anybody can view them. However, when we deliver them, we send a link to the class that they intended for. So this link for the how to choose a college you can afford was sent only to junior parents. I'm going to send my link for the webinar course selection process to all parents, sophomore and junior parents. So the link is sent to the class for whom the webinar is being delivered to. However, when it's posted, then anybody can watch those webinars. Did I answer your question? Person who asked. Okay, all right. Oh, yes, thank you. Well, Happy New Year one more time. I wish everybody a wonderful, wonderful second semester, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all again once a month, like I always do. It's one of my favorite meetings, and I say it before, and I will never get tired of saying it. So have a wonderful, wonderful day and a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Yulia, and thank you for continuing to keep us posted on all of that information. Okay, next I'd like to ask Pranav Manoj if he could give us updates on IMSA Student Council.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Hello, parents. As they said, I'm Pranav Manoj, and I'm currently a junior here at IMSA, and I'm currently the student council liaison to the parent organizations here at IMSA as well. I hope everyone had a safe, enjoyable holiday season. And as you know, the student body is currently getting ready for second semester. So student council has largely been occupied with policy-based project work over the past month. And we've largely been focused on larger projects that are going to be enacted throughout the duration of the second semester. And over the past few weeks specifically, Student Council has spent a considerable amount of time checking in and organizing the diverse and deep club culture that IMSA currently maintains. We have around 60 clubs as of right now, and we manage, organize, and fund all 60. We've recognized that communication issues exist and often prevent students from getting as involved as they've tried to. And in order to alleviate the given issues, IMSA will, throughout the current upcoming semester and into 2022, in a standardized way, we're going to begin to implement a new organizational software, Presence.io, that will largely take the role over from IVC. IVC, our IMSA Virtual Campus, our Facebook group, will still continue to exist, but Presence.io and IMSA's webpage on the site will now be the main hub for clubs and student-led organizational affairs at IMSA. And it's going to provide a more centralized location for IMSA students to pursue their interests and contribute to and diversify IMSA's club culture. And will also be open to administrators, faculty, staff, and parents as well. Finally, our collaboratory Endiro Coffee fundraiser, which is locally sourced in Aurora, is currently underway and is currently raising money to fund activities hosted by student-led organizations, especially because Student Council's main source of revenue, or homecoming, didn't happen this year. So this fundraiser is largely helping us get back on our feet. And that should be all. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you very much. And as it says here, if any of you were planning to order the Endiro fundraiser, it is in your My School Bucks link. So if you go into your Power School and click on the My School Bucks link and go into the store, that's where you would place the order. Okay, next, I would like to ask Jalen Abdullah, the CAB director, to give us updates on CAB.
Hello, hello. Good morning, parents. If you're screaming in the background, I apologize. It is currently, Cartoon Saturday, so everyone's just watching TV and having a good time. Before I get started, I just really want to shout out everyone here for, coming out and taking time out of your day and preparing everything. So you guys always impress me. So I just pat yourself on the back for that. In addition to that, those junior seminars really helped out me when I was a junior, applying to college, because I'm a first generation, college student. So my parents aren't really that aware about what's going on, how a college application happens. So definitely take advantage of that. Now, CAB stuff. So last year, if you remember, if you're a junior parent or senior parent, around the time February and March, your students somehow just didn't come home as often. They said, oh, I have to practice, or they said the word clash once in a while. Well, yes, clash is still happening this year. Even though we're not on campus, it is going to be virtually. So we're hyped for that. If you don't know what clash is, pretty much, students have about 2 months to prep for a 1 week long event, right? Where it's competition between all the halls on campus. And even though we're not living on campus, each of the halls are still going to work together to compete for one goal, winning clash. So that's what's happening. Soon, there's going to be a whole bunch of just information that's going to be sent out to your students. So that is going to be happening. Just keep an eye out for that. If you're a sophomore parent, it's going to be fun. Trust me. If your students have any questions, please, just tell them, just ask them, hey, reach out to CAB or reach out to Jalen. They'll definitely help you with that. In addition to that, on February 14th for Clash, it's color reveal. And if you're a junior or senior parent right now, that was major. And of course, there's gonna be a lot of changes because normally if we're on campus, we'll go to Old CAF and then we'll have a whole bunch of banners and stuff. We'll have music playing. And then as soon as the music says a color or a keyword, we'll drop the banner. Everyone's like, wow, we got this color and everything. So we still plan on doing that, but of course there's gonna be changes. Lastly, for February, there's gonna be about 2 events for the love of IMSA. Pretty much what it's gonna be is gonna be a sweet, wholesome kind of competition events between the classes where each of the class will be able to show how much they love their own class through competitions, either writing note cards or just like this quick like flash mobs into Zoom rooms and be like, okay, this is our class, what's your class chant? So that's the plan for February. So keep an eye out for that February event, and then clash is around the corner. So thank you so much for inviting me to this parent meeting.
Thanks for those updates, Jalen. So quick question for you. Will you be sending out information to the parents as well regarding the Clash of the Halls activities? So
Yeah, of course.
Parents as well? Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, currently CAB is recording pretty much our like rules for Clash and like what you should expect and like what rules like you have to abide to. My apologies, you have to abide to even though we're not on campus. So yeah, that's being sent out to students and their parents. So that would be all good.
And another quick question, are there going to be Clash shirts again this year or?
Yeah, for t-shirt design, yeah, it's probably gonna be earlier. So students are gonna have to, submit earlier so they can, order it. And then around the time of Clash, they can wear it and be like, let's go. I'm in 01, so I'm like, let's go 01. And then, just do all that fun stuff. So we want to keep the spirit of Clash, even though we're doing virtually. So yeah, there's gonna be t-shirt design and all those fun events.
Okay, great. Does anybody have any questions for Jalen? Okay, thank you so much for those updates, Jalen. Okay, next we have Katie Berger, who will give us some updates on IMSA Student Affairs Department. I'm sorry,
Hello.
This is Dana. I apologize, Dana. And
That's quite all right.
Here for in place of Katie today. So I apologize, Dana.
No problem at all. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Dana Gannett, and I'm the Associate Director of Student Affairs here at IMSA. And Katie Berger did have a conflict today. She regrets she's unable to be here, but sends her regards. I do have several updates for you from the Student Affairs Department, so I'll go ahead and get started with student activities. Just to kind of recap from last semester, I think they did a wonderful job with engagement opportunities stemming from themed events for homecoming straight away to hosting the holiday lights viewing with IMSA students and families from around the state. For the spring 2021 semester, Student Council is planning a winter retreat for all student leaders to refocus expectations for clubs. They will be discussing new opportunities in chartering, student leadership hiring, leadership awards, and cultural clubs are collaborating to combine their annual culture shows, which have been retitled Luwali and Casa de Harambe, and will premiere on YouTube. So this is going to be another first and will prove to be, I think, certainly a great experience for all. With regards to athletics and co-curriculars, during the fall 2020 athletic season, we sponsored individual athletes to represent IMSA and participate in state series competitions in golf, tennis, girls tennis, and cross country, despite not fielding athletic teams during the fall season. While we're not sponsoring athletic teams for the remainder of the 2020-2021 school year, we will stay in communication with IHSA and continue to think creatively about ways for IMSA student athletes to engage in individual competition safely. IMSA is continuing to sponsor 15 co-curricular programs this academic year, and the first virtual speech and debate contest will be hosted by IMSA on January 26th. For school counseling, we are excited to welcome Northern Illinois University graduate student Susie Lee as a counseling department intern for the spring 2021 semester. Moving on to residence life, the RCs facilitated 13 educational programs in fall semester, including the required diversity, equity, and inclusion programming for juniors and seniors. And they have worked with, or they did work, excuse me, with the school counselors to administer a mental health survey to all students. They are hard at work with creating additional curriculum for the spring 2021 semester. Also, with news about our resident counselors specifically, Dr. Torres and Dr. Akwaji Anderson did receive notice on Tuesday, January 13th that the IMSA resident counselors announced the formation of a union. We do look forward to continuing strong partnerships with the RCs. They do a great job and we will continue to support them in their work with our students. Also under that residence life umbrella is the hard work of our residential student leaders. During the fall semester, the RSLs participated in a total of 5 training sessions focused on topics including virtual duties and expectations, programming, engagement, asynchronous involvement, as well as opportunities for feedback and cross-campus collaboration. They hold pulse checks to gauge the overall atmosphere and acclimate in their virtual communities consistently for the first quarter and adjusted accordingly as time progressed. Their work is going to continue in spring semester, but I'm excited to say that their work resulted in the RSLs completing over 800 hours of service to the IMSA community, which is fantastic. We touched a little bit, or excuse me, someone else touched a little bit earlier about peer tutors, but just to add a little bit, the RCs who serve as peer tutor liaisons staffed the tutor open house, which allowed for students to feel welcome and supported as they identified their tutoring needs. This was in fall semester. For the spring semester, juniors and seniors who were not fall tutors were able to apply and be a peer tutor for the spring. Fall tutors were asked to confirm their interest and availability as well. And in total, we'll have 30 new students who had applied to be tutors and 73 returning students reapplied. So we're very excited with those numbers. The training will be held starting on January 19th for all spring tutors, and tutoring will resume on February 1st. Quick update on discipline. Our discipline numbers remained relatively low for the fall 2020 semester as a result of distance learning. Out of the 23 disciplinary hearings that resulted in sanctions, 22 were for academic dishonesty. I am going to be sending out data within the coming weeks that will compare our fall numbers for 2020 to our fall numbers from 2019. So you'll have that. For service learning, as the start of the second semester begins, this is just an important reminder, particularly for our second semester seniors, that 200 service learning hours are required for graduation. We encourage students to log their hours into Helper as soon as possible. And we do encourage all students and parents to please check PowerSchool for the most up-to-date number of hours that have been completed, verified, and validated. PowerSchool should be updated. We spent a significant amount of time making sure that any Helper hours that came in over the break were accurately logged into PowerSchool, so everything should be updated as of right now. Virtual opportunities are available. So, excuse me, please check the service learning portion of our website. If you go to imsa.edu under student life, you'll see the tab for service learning. And it's just chock full of good information, but if you have questions, please let me know. And then finally, just a reminder that the Student Affairs team continues to provide those monthly newsletters to students and parents. Please take a moment to read them. They are chock full of important information. Thank you so much for having me today. And Happy New Year. I don't think it's too late to say that, is it?
Not at all.
Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. Dana, real quick, would you remind parents of sophomores and juniors too, as far as the service hours requirements as of this point in time, how much their students should have?
Absolutely. So I mean, in terms of, are you talking about in terms of how many hours they should have logged by now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, with 200 service learning hours that we do recommend, if you are on our website, and actually I'm going to go there right now just because I want to make sure that I am relaying the same information here. Give me 1 second. So we have some checkpoint recommendations. And so 65 hours we do recommend get completed by the end of sophomore year. We recommend 100 hours be completed by the end of the student's third semester, so halfway through. And then finally, the 200 hours completed by spring break of senior year. We do recognize, however, that summers are a prime opportunity to get a lot of these hours done. My daughter did all 200 of them, well, almost all 200 of them during one summer. Volunteering like it was a full-time job. So I do understand that there might be some, you know, you might not be able to stick to those checkpoint recommendations completely, but that will at least keep you on track to getting those 200 hours done on time.
Thank you for those clarifications. Does anybody have any questions for Dana?
There was a question in the chat if service hours aren't showing up in Power School. They asked who they should contact about that.
Me. Definitely reach out to me. We do have an email on the service learning portion of the website. It's comserve@imsa, in other words, short for community service, but comserve@imsa.edu, or me directly. It's DG. I'll put it in the chat. I'll put my email in the chat so you all have it. But please reach out to me because sometimes, you know, there are hours that are in helper and they still need to be verified, and that's why they're not in Power School. But at the very least, I can do some investigative work and get back to you.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Well, then the next question that came up was that, you know, they're with sophomores and juniors, you know, it's still a big issue with the pandemic, and they're concerned like how to find volunteer hours, it looks like. So are there information about that?
Yes. And I have been actually working with individuals from the community to do virtual hours. And I'll be honest with you, one of the most successful virtual community service hours that we have seen is through the Smithsonian Institute doing transcribing, because students can do it at their own pace. They are able to screenshot their work, so I know exactly how much time has been sent. And there have been, I mean, for some individuals, at least 60, 70 hours that they've gotten just from transcribing. So that's been a wonderful opportunity, but there are others on our website as well. Again, all virtual.
There was a question about have students been informed if they were selected as peer tutors for spring yet?
That is a great question. Let me just go back to my one note to see if there's any clarification on that. If not, I can certainly get that answer and let Maria know.
And Dana, this is Robin from Friday Fest and PAC. I have a couple of questions for you. Do you have the dates yet for the combined cultural events?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
And then the other question I had, and I don't know if Pranav is still on, so you may know the answer to this. He was talking a little bit about adding communication from not only IVC, IMSA virtual, I can't remember what that last C stands for, but to presence.io. And was there one more communication platform, or is it just those two? Oh, IVC is IMSA Virtual Campus, sorry.
I think you said also that the IMSA website would be the main hub with all that information.
Okay, thank you, Maria.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Just trying to get those communication platforms in my head.
And then in terms of the peer tutors, so the information that I have is that the fall tutors were asked to confirm their interest, but in total 30 new tutors will applied. I will have to double check to ensure that everyone has been notified. Because everything is starting though, however, on the 19th to start the peer tutoring training, I would assume that they've already been notified, but as of which date they were notified, I'm not sure. So I'd like to confirm that for you.
Wonderful. Dana, if you find out by Monday, if you'd like to let me know, I can include it in the updates that we send out, the recap that we send out for this meeting.
I will make sure you have it. Thanks.
Okay, that's all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, and thanks for those updates. Next, I'd like to welcome Dr. Comfort Akwaji Anderson, our Principal and Chief Academic Officer, to give us some updates from the Principal's Office.
All right. Hi, everyone. I know for a fact I haven't seen most of you, so I'm going to go ahead and say Happy New Year. Thanks to some of the speakers who have already mentioned some of the things that I wanted to mention. I especially want to thank first Moju, because I met with her team, the committee. And so she mentioned some things that I already had on my mind to share with you. So I'll go ahead and talk about some things, and then I'll bring in and just add to what she actually mentioned. I want to thank Kat because she talked about a survey that's being prepared to be sent out to parents. I would assume students, of course, experiences will be reflected in that, you know, in regards to how they're feeling now. I want you all to know that we continue to use whatever feedback we get from you to inform our work. So I'm excited, Kat, that you all will be doing that, and to work collaboratively with you all so that we can see what we can do to continue to support our students. I want to give you a quick update on Parent Day. We are so looking forward to February 6th. And Ms. Martinez, who is my senior administrative assistant, has been working very hard to make sure that we do some planning, thinking about, we've had lots and lots of discussions about how Parent Day went in the fall. And so we're trying to make sure that we dot all of our I's and think about the technology and all of that. So we are looking forward to that and ready for you all. And that's going to be virtual. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, just a quick reminder, again, Moju already mentioned it, graduation is going to be live streamed. And then I just want you to know that all graduating seniors will be recognized during the ceremony, whether they are attending in person or not. That's important. And then back to inner session. Thanks again, Moju. Thanks to any of our parents who participated in inner session. Nearly half of the sessions were hosted by alumni, parents, and others, providing a more diverse and expanded list of sessions. In fact, we had more participation, believe it or not, we had more participation doing it virtually than when we did face-to-face for obvious reasons. There are folks who would otherwise not be able to travel to IMSA, but by doing it virtually, they were actually able to participate. We are collecting feedback from the session facilitators already. So students will receive a survey next week, likely on Tuesday, so that we can get that feedback. We are also looking at the early feedback. And so the early feedback has been largely positive, with a number of comments about how the virtual format allow, like I said earlier, for more diversity in sessions, and how we might want to continue offering some virtual sessions in the coming years, even if we return to in-person inner session. So that's something that we're taking into consideration. Finally, this is super, super important. You all know I have a tradition of getting in touch with students. I just make a list, and each week I call, between 7 and 10 students. You all know I do that. I do that because it's super, super important to keep in touch with our students, what's going on with them, how they're feeling, and things like that. I have a request for you parents. I would really like for you to be mindful and aware of your students' behaviors and progress as we continue to learn at a distance. I say that because it broke my heart. We have students who, of course, we had to look at the end of the semester, we had to look at grades and all of that. There's students who, they don't meet we have policies, as you all know. They didn't meet the criteria to continue at IMSA. There's students that, we had to look at to put on probation, and a lot of intervention. So it breaks my heart. And so, our students are very, very smart, as we all know, they're high achievers, but please, please be mindful of what their behaviors, because they check out. Sometimes we may not notice, but I think really observing, and you just let us know, we know how to speak the language. So if you notice something, let us know and we'll follow up, because I would rather we're proactive about that and help them, give them that just-in-time support. It's not fault of their own with the situation that we're in. So all I'm asking is that we all keep an eye out so that we can, notice some things and intervene and help them so that we can, they can end up with positive outcomes. Please be communicative with faculty, staff, myself, our office. We are here to help you and to help our students. Parents, please continue to encourage your student to seek out and get help as needed. We know that gifted research tells us, students who are gifted and talented, high achievers, sometimes they don't think that they need help. In fact, they need more help because they are so good at what they do, and academics come very easily to them. So we want them to continue to be the superstar that they already are, but we know that with the situation that we're in with COVID, there's some challenges that present themselves. And even if we didn't have COVID, we still would love for our students to seek help because we have these resources. I mean, Dana and her team, they have all kinds of resources to help our students. My office, we're here to help. And so please be sure that you keep an eye on the students because it's our collective responsibility to ensure that they're successful. And I'm their biggest cheerleader. So thank you so much for all you do and continue to do. Maria, thank you for your continued leadership and collaboration with us for the benefit of our students. The academic committee, I know this is a biased statement. That's only because I work with you all and meet with you a lot. I appreciate everything that you do for us to continue to support our students so that they can be successful because they're rock stars, but we need to do our part to make sure that they become whatever they're meant to become. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kwesi Anderson, for sharing all that information with us. And so I'm going to ask my fellow co-hosts who are helping out here if there's any questions in the chat for Dr. Comfort. Okay. So if you do have any, please feel free to ask at the end as well. But again, thank you for those updates. And today we will not be having a speaker series right after the meeting. Kevin Cusey and Keisha Reams will be doing a standalone speaker series session for us next week because they were unavailable to join us this week. So I know a main topic has come up of our students' mental health wellness, mental health wellness. So we have been asked by some parents, for tools and resources to help make sure that our students are doing well mental health wise especially during distance learning. So they will be joining us next Saturday, January 23 from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. The Zoom link is here, but we will definitely be sending out more information this week. We do also have a form. The link is on the bottom there. It's bit.ly/JanSpeak. So if you do have any kind of questions or topics that you would like them to answer or cover, please submit them here by January 19th so that they do have time to prepare some information, but they will also be able to take some questions during the session as well.
Maria, will
yeah.
those links be provided in the outgoing email that you send to all parents after this meeting?
Yes, it'll be included in the recap, and we will also send a standalone invitation to all the parents so you'll have the information. Thank you for that question. So our next meeting will be on Parent Day, as Dr. Kwesi Anderson mentioned, that Parent Day is on Saturday, February 6th. So just remember that on Parent Days, our meetings do start earlier because we're usually the first session right before the Parent Day begins. So our meeting will be from 8 a.m. to 8:45 a.m. And so those links will be sent out ahead of the meeting. Okay. And if you have any questions for us, please feel free to send them to theimsapac@gmail.com, or if you have any suggestions, and they will be distributed to the appropriate committee member or board members. And also, you can visit our website to find out more information about the IMSA along with our complete contact list and a list of the bylaws, and also copies of the meetings meeting recap. Do we have any other questions? No? Okay. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today and spending this Saturday morning with us. And again, Happy New Year to everybody. And we do look forward to seeing everybody again via Zoom next month. So thank you very much. And thank you for all our speakers that came and shared some fantastic information today.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thanks, Maria.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.